Hello, Herlock Sholmes here. I have stopped time for 7 days straight because I now have the world's ability. I just wanted to let everybody know before Spaghetti and
Let me
Meatball
out.
State. Well, I'm sorry. Well, I will set you free in a few seconds. I just want to let people know before Spaghetti and Meatballs Day tomorrow, which is officially the best holiday ever. I want to let everybody know that we never reached to be continued last time, so we're starting in the middle of a divination deduction that we're doing right now. So we figured out that Mr. Eggman decided to go into the store and try to steal the coat, but we don't know why. So we're about to find out. So let's continue where we left off.
Yes, go back to your depressed state. It was more fun that way.
I'm trying not to go back to that time, okay? It was very terrible.
Come on, we need to keep him away from Hot Topic and the eyeliner.
I've been through.
Mrs. Shove, are you turning
I
into a vampire kid?
I have gone goth too many times in my childhood. They called me steampunk. They called me steampunk emo back then.
I thought you'd go for the vampire.
Steampunk Stone. Because his heart's as cold as ice.
Yes.
Have you sure had a weird time, let's just say.
Cat.
Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue from where we left off 7 weeks ago. Or 7 days. My bad. I think I stopped. I think my stand ability is not working as well as I thought it would. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd.
Yes, he is.
You suggest that I, a gentleman, designed a wheeze to filch some tawdry article of pawnage? Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner, using the watchword?
What the hell?
Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place, how could I have possibly have known the relevant details? N'est-ce pas? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword relating to the pawned property of another. The method is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn.
The direction of the deduction must change rather dramatically now, I think.
Yes, no more talk of tunneling into the sewers.
Hey.
Which is a pity, because it all sounded rather exciting. Says you, I'm the one that has to go through shit. Anyway.
As if he'd Shawshank himself into there.
You can't deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword.
Yes, Professor. If you didn't know that word, Mr. Windybank would never allow you to redeem the article.
Or, looking at it another way, if you did know that word, Mr. Windybank would allow you to redeem the article whether it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? The method is revealed by the note lid on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article.
Get off there.
He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down the response uttered on a notelet he has to hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It is increasingly apparent that you were present in the shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Windybank. When the diligent broker made a note of the watchword, as is his common practice, you observed him writing the word professor on the notelet beside the ledger. And that, sir, was the master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. Master plan? Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? For an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. The articles we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of the pockets.
Which, according to Mr. Windybank, isn't even worth a penny.
And yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why?
I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it, Mr. Naruhodo.
Could we? Really? I better have a thorough look through all the evidence we've collected so far.
Oh. Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck onto the reverse side of the disc. Look. And a scribbled word or two. It looks like somebody's name. For McGilded.
McGilded? It couldn't be.
But it is, Mr. Naruhodo. A name I shall never forget for as long as I live. And there's a cat scratching my scalp. Stop.
But why? Why is his name on this?
Sorry about that. I had a spray cat who was attacking my hair.
No worries. You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that on the back? It reads, for McGilded. Ah, Mr. Magnus McGilded. The unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prominent man in London, through his loan-mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. So, you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGilded was a man of unusually small stature. In fact, he was precisely the right size for that overcoat that you've squeezed yourself into. Ugh. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Eggert Benedict. But the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. Tisk! La!
Oh, he didn't fall.
Damn.
What do you think I am, Eggman?
In this case, yes, you must act that way.
I am not looking for any Chaos Emeralds, okay? Well, well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances.
Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind.
Pray tell, Miss Sasato.
Well, according to what Mr. Windybank told us earlier, today was the final day on which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not?
Yes, Mom, that is correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first disposed.
Well, today is
Well-
15th April, so 2 months ago today.
Would have been the 15th of February, sir. That's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Disposed at 10:30 p.m., I see.
What? But that suggests...
Yes, 15th February.
is precisely the day on which the omnibus murder took place.
At 10:30 in the evening is precisely the time at which the terrible events were unfolding.
Oh shit. Here we go.
Suggested. Here we go again. Oh shit. Suggestive is not the word. It would seem the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose. However...
Oh shit.
What
I'm...
the fuck?
I must insist you hand over the Music Box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. Ugh! What do I do? He could shoot me at any moment. I hate to give in, but what other choice do I really have here?
You distract him. Oh,
Mr. Windybank!
Mr. This is my shop. I can't allow any harm to come to my customers if that were to happen. I should have to take my own life.
What the fuck?
stop pointing it at yourself, you asshole. You're pointing at Ken doll over there.
Mr. Windybank, no!
This must be the most suicidal character I've ever acted out.
God damn.
Alright, that's enough!
Oh,
Oh no, it's the
Well,
chip
hello.
guy.
Inspector Gregson. Inspector? That's right, Sunshine. The alarm was raised on one of our dedicated emergency lines. So what we got here as fast as we could. Now what's all this about, eh?
Oh, praise be! You're here at last!
we called them?
I was moments away from forfeiting my own life, my very own establishment.
Well, that's one hell of a JoJo pose.
Yes, I was a rejected JoJo character. I don't
know
understand.
why, but he reminds me of the Part 5 guys, but with like the fancy hair, like.
Are you saying that I'm not cool enough to be in part 5, Sylph? I take great offense to that. They wouldn't even say I was good for part 1, and that takes place in England of all places. What the fuck, Rocky?
Chill out, dude.
It would seem you have the upper hand. Right, you've got some explaining to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with some petty argy-bargy.
Ooh, I would like good shit.
Petty? Mr. Windybank very nearly met with his end, and this motherfucker has a gun.
Yeah, by his own gun as far as I can tell.
Oh dear.
And the whole of Britain can meet with its end if I don't get to the bottom of the case I'm supposed to be working on. What? What on earth is the case, Inspector? Spare no detail, Gregson.
Spill the tea, as it were.
I
Ooh,
might
you
have...
say tea now. I'll spill your nut.
I might have said a little too much. No matter. It's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you're gonna have to come with me down to the station. You're gonna get 10 years in prison for pointing a gun at somebody, if this were America. But no, we're just going to take you down to the station. No big deal. But of course, Inspector. Whoa!
Did he just ballerina spin it out of the way?
I had a feeling this would happen.
Yes.
I imagine he kicked the inspector as he ballerina spun and then ran out.
I was in a West End play just a matter of months ago, and I learned some dance moves along the way.
Man, I wish we could tase him.
Don't tase me, bro. Get after him, lads! Whistle the beat officer, too! Sure! Yeah, I probably should be going after him, but no, I'm just gonna stay here. There's been quite a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently. So we fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble.
Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed.
Now then, Mr. Permanently in mourning. Oh, yes? I'll be taking out whatever it is of McGilded's down to the yard, thank you very much.
What's the red thing?
That is blood. Somebody pricked themselves on it.
Oh. Wait, wouldn't it have rusted unless it's steel? It wouldn't have.
It's fresh blood. Oh, yes, of course.
No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is. Mine.
I'm sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken in as evidence now. As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. And so, we handed Mr. McGilded's disc over to Inspector Gregson. And were summarily turfed out of the shop and onto the street.
Oh.
That's bullshit.
Well, we're going to keep continuing, so to be continued has no relevance to this.
Yeah.
lies and take stuff away from you.
Oh, really, Miss Lestrade? Tell me, is that overcoat keeping you warm?
What?
Oh, my, surely you were given that.
Yeah. Did they let me keep it? After I looked daggers in them for long enough. Everyone threw the pocket and said, go on then. Have it before telling me to scrap it. Always pays off. Giving people a look and you ate them.
I can't help feeling that it's gonna get you into serious trouble one day.
What I really wanted was that nice, shiny disc of mine.
The music box disc.
But Mr. Wendybank said it was practically worthless.
I think I'm gonna go and have another bash. Give him a long hard stare.
I think not, Miss Lestrade. We shan't enter Wendybanks again today.
Oh, thank God.
Why not? That's not fair.
I'm surprised that you don't want any more people inside your store. I mean, more money in your pocket.
I don't have enough bullets for myself.
Oh, God. Maybe I should go to another pawnbroker.
Maybe you should. I'm terrible.
It can't be helped, I'm afraid. The police are investigating the scene now and taking a statement for Mr. Wendybank.
But that disc is mine. I had the ticket for this coat and it was in this coat's pocket. And there should be something else and all. That's what this rotten cove said, ain't it?
Rotten Cove? That's the last thing I want to hear while I'm in the afterlife. Yes, he did mention something about another article, didn't he?
Now then, that's mine too, whatever it is.
Now she's really pushing her luck. Miss Lestrade, I think it's time to admit defeat. You've had your haul for the day.
Yeah, and it's all your fault, Sholmes.
So what are your plans now? Will you dine with us this evening?
Eh?
Iris would be delighted to cook, I'm sure, and I might entertain you with a modest violin recital. Do you like Mozart?
Speaking of violin, what happened? Where the hell is violin?
Not
Oh. So Beethoven, then?
Why would I come round your place, eh? Have you lost your air or something?
It's at 8 o'clock. Make sure you bring some mashed potatoes or something.
Nice bottle of wine for you.
Oh dear, she's gone.
We got plenty of white wine. If you could snag some red wine from the winery over across the street from us, that would be much appreciated.
Fuck you, Sholmes.
And make sure to get some pizza while you're at it from the local Italian farmers market. I'm sure they've made margarita pizzas back in this time period. I mean, it was... whatever.
I'm afraid she's gone now, Hurley.
Oh, well, I'll send her a text later. Using my new smartphone from the 1800s. Having reviled on me quite...
Nobody has it yet.
You sure he doesn't have a messenger pigeon
Yeah.
called Petey the Pigeon?
Fly, my pretties. Fly! Having reviled on me quite unnecessarily, I might add. I can't help wondering if perhaps she might turn up anyway. Interesting. Once she's had a chance to calm down, I think there's a good chance she'll decide to come. Very well, then. I'll inform Iris to set a place for our potential guest at the dinner table this evening. We only have 4 chairs, but we'll use my violin as the 5th chair. We'll just carve it into a brand new spanking chair. But Sholmes, then what was the whole point of getting your violin back from the pawnbroker if you're just gonna break it and make it into a chair? Well, these things happen.
That's all right. He'll use the viola.
We returned it.
Aww.
And one more thing. I should be glad of your company later, too. Sorry? I believe I will have a rather splendid surprise to show you.
Oh, how exciting. What is it?
You shall have to wait and see, Miss Sasato. Until later, then. As Tommy would say, what a day.
Mm-hmm.
Insert the neighbor's transition scene music.
Oh. Ah, Lily and Runa. Come in, come in.
Good afternoon, Iris.
Thank you so much for breakfast this morning.
Oh, don't mention it. Goodness, look at the time already.
4:20.
Blaze it.
Busy as always?
I am. I'm preparing everything for dinner this evening.
Already? You're obviously cooking something special, are you?
Oh yes. After all, we have a special guest joining us.
And that is me.
Guess who it is? Go. You'll never guess.
Look at those little eyes of her shining.
Oh, dear. It's awkward when you already know the answer, isn't it?
Skinny, isn't that exciting?
Oh, what a surprise. Yes, that's wonderful news.
Wow, Iris seems overjoyed at the idea.
I can't wait to learn some pickpocketing tips from a real professional.
Got my desk.
Then I could actually chew her out for stealing my invention earlier. The bitch.
Ooh.
Oh yes, that does sound like fun.
I'm not sure that's entirely appropriate. Are you, Mr. Naruhodo?
By the way, Iris, what's Mr. Sholmes up to?
Hurley? Oh, he's been like that ever since he got back.
Oh no. He's going through his emo phase again. Run!
Hello? What makes you think that? I'm at my desk. You think I sewn over my sorrows over my desk?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I'll have you know. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. I beg that you won't speak to me. Sorry?
I told you.
I don't know who you are, but kindly take your leave. As you can see, I'm not here.
What the fuck?
Will you leave my message after the beep?
Yeah.
Beep.
Do the message. After the beep. Beep. I don't know how to respond to this. Hi, Mr. Sholmes. This is Renosuke Naruhodo. I live upstairs from you. Please give me can you just come upstairs when you get this message? I'll just give it to Iris. Have a good day. Bye.
Should we poke him with a stick, see if he's still alive?
I said good day, sir.
Okay, Willy Wonka.
I do apologize. When he gets like this, he's completely oblivious to everything.
Yes, I see.
Really, he behaves just like a child sometimes, Hurley does.
Mr. Sholmes and Iris have something of a parent and child relationship, don't they?
Ha! With the role switched.
Wah, wah, change my diaper, wah.
I
Doesn't
said
work,
child,
does
not baby.
Yes, except that Iris is clearly the parent here. Come to think of it, I wonder where her real parents are.
What's the matter, Luna? You have ever such a funny look on your face.
Oh, no, it's nothing.
I know what it is. Why does this girl live here with Mr. Sholmes? You're wondering? Am I right?
How? How did you...
Oh, Luna, I can read you like a book.
Ugh, this girl is dangerous.
Yep.
Don't worry. You can ask me anything. I won't mind.
Where's your parents? Did you kill
She's the girl version of Harry Potter.
them?
So, by Ginny, you mean Miss Lestrade, the young woman from the McGilded case 2 months ago, right?
Yes. Who also stole my experimental smoke grenade launcher? Although, after that trial, I invited her back here and we had dinner together. But now, we are the best of friends.
Oh, what a lovely tale.
Yes. Now if I bump into her on the street, she runs away as fast as she can.
Oh.
And I'll chase up to her down the back alleys.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's like Betty Hill, Hurley.
Interesting idea of friendship.
And then I let her have the latest color of smoke grenade I've developed.
Oh.
There's so many beautiful colors in the world. Ginny wants me to make a whole rainbow.
I suppose this means you've let Miss Lestrade keep the smoke grenade launcher, have you?
Yes, that's right. I've got bored of it anyway. Hurley's always react the same when I shoot him with it now.
Blah! Poor Hurley.
Ooh, I can't wait for Ginny to arrive. It's been too long since she last came over. I'm so excited.
I just hope she does actually come.
I'm sure you're wondering, why is it that I've lived here with Hurley, haven't you?
Well, it has crossed my mind. That and where are your real parents?
My mummy and daddy aren't with me anymore.
I told you, she killed him.
Mummy passed away when I was born. And around the same time, my father... Well, he had to go to a faraway land because one of the cases he and Hurley were working on...
Oh. Wait a minute. Did you say he and Hurley?
Yes. Dudley and Hurley were always solving mysterious cases together.
She didn't mention that before.
He wrote them up in his diaries. That's what the metal chest... in that metal chest over there.
Really? He recorded them all?
So, you mean it's true? Mr. Sholmes really did have a partner with whom he tackled some of his most taxing cases?
Oh, yes. I mean, it's always nice to have one, isn't it?
So Mr. Sholmes' partner was your father?
Exactly. Harry told me I wasn't allowed to look in the chest. But that only made me want to look even more. So I opened it up. And... good.
And found your father's memoirs.
Yes. So I asked Hurley, who wrote these? He nearly fell off his chair.
Ah!
But then he told me that's when I found that the author of those accounts was my father.
So Iris's father was Mr. Sholmes' partner.
I've practically lived with Hurley all my life. I was tiny when he took me in. So, it came as quite a shock. When Hurley told me that he wasn't really my daddy, I mean.
It must have done.
I wonder why Mr. Sholmes chose to tell you, and at such a young age.
Hurley says it's because he wouldn't have been able to hide it from me.
Oh?
Well, having lived with Hurley all these years, you might say that his ways have rubbed off on me. There are some things I can just see. Especially lies. I almost know when people are lying before they open their mouths sometimes.
Right.
Anyway, I was so fascinated when I read Daddy's diaries. That's what inspired me to write The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, actually.
Oh. I'd always assumed Mr. Sholmes simply told you all those thrilling stories.
Oh no, Harry's hopeless like that.
Chapter... Oh, this is too hard.
He forgets everything. As soon as he solved a case, it all but vanishes from his mind.
Oh, I see.
The other day, it was so embarrassing. As usual, he totally forgot about the case he just solved. So the very next day, he gathered together all the people involved and proceeded to solve the case again. He had the attention span of a goldfish. It was quite a shock for everyone.
You can say that again.
Maybe he has dementia.
You share your father's surname, don't you, Iris?
That's right. Wilson. Daddy is Dr. John H. Wilson. I learnt it from his diaries that he's a doctor of medicine, you see. That's what prompted me to study and study so that I can earn a doctorate as well.
Iris's father who went to some distant land
Oh.
and is a doctor by the name of John H. Wilson.
Oh shit.
The court will now hear the trial of Renosuke Naruhodo. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson.
Shit.
Oh, fuck.
That's right. Visiting professor of medicine at Imperial Yume University. And the man who, in the most bizarre of circumstances, lost his life just before we left Japan.
Oh, dude.
Mrs. Sato,
Yes?
perhaps we shouldn't pursue this conversation any further at this time.
I think that would be for the best.
Ah, my dear fellows, how good to see you.
Oh God.
Mr. Sholmes?
Why ever did you not make your presence known to me before? Ah. Well, no matter now. So, how the devil are you? We've been with you for most of the day. Goodness, really?
Do you tell, Mr. Sholmes? Is your violin unscathed?
My violin? Whatever are you talking about, dear madam?
Oh my god, what? Oh,
Never mind that now. I have something far more interesting to show you. Behold, my dear fellows.
Oh, another music box disc.
No, not another disc, Miss Sato. This is the one Gregson demanded we hand over as evidence, Mr. McGilded's disc.
Ow! Oh my.
Then, what's it doing here? Heh heh heh. You know, at times, Mr. Naruhodo, I think that though I have an undeniable turn for detection, I may well even be more adept at larceny.
He's a pickpocket.
That would be wonderfully exciting. I'd be your pickpocketing assistant. And Bruno could be our go-to lawyer if we ever got caught.
Right.
Now, Susie has such beautiful handwriting. She could write all our messaging crime notifications.
Yes, I'd be delighted.
What the hell have we just gotten ourselves into?
We are becoming bank robbers now.
Okay,
Pew,
crack us
pew,
all to
pew.
London, let's go.
And afterwards, we will all be sipping martinis, very, very wealthy people. Now I'm just picturing, like, Sholmes with, like, one of those, like, New York gangster mustaches.
Oh God. Stop biting my leg, you little turd.
Ah, now look here, see? I'm just going to pretend this conversation never happened, I think. I don't understand. How did that disc come to be in your possession? I thought Inspector Gregson took it back to Scotland Yard. Quite correct. And that sort of uncompromising attitude is precisely why I always carry some of this.
That's a bar of caramel, Mr. Sholmes.
Your one and only friend in times of loneliness, if I'm not mistaken.
Ow.
If you will humor me, my dear fellows, cast your minds back to when the good detective confiscated the disc. I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGilded's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we have no choice but to capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. For the briefest of moments, I had the disc in my hand, did I not? Yes. Yes, you did. But I still don't understand. It was at precisely that moment that I summoned my one and only friend into action. I pressed the disc into a pair of bars like this. That's amazing. The disc and all the minuscule protrusions have made an image in the caramel. Indeed, this caramel is quite exceptional. I developed it myself, you know. Suitably soft for making impressions, but resistant to melting, the result of a precisely controlled solution.
How extraordinary.
Carrying a pair of these on one's person frequently proves very useful indeed. Take a house key, for example. A simple press and its unique form is duplicated. I can enter anyone's property at will, and never without high sucrose nourishment. Yes, it sounds illegal. From the image, I was able to create this. I confess I was most curious to know what matter of music would issue from the disc when played.
Do tell us then, Mr. Sholmes. What music does the disc play?
Well, unfortunately, I have no idea. No idea? None whatsoever. Are you familiar with the workings of a music box, my dear fellows? No, I'm afraid not.
Goodness, don't you know, Bruno? Inside a music box, there is a special metal piece called a cone. That's what produces the sound. Small probe tubulences pluck the different teeth of the comb as they rotate past it, making the different notes. The first music boxes to be invented used a rotating cylinder with protuberances in it.
But over time, a new type of player was produced, which uses discs such as these. With that development, the popularity of music boxes spread far and wide, all around the globe.
Why exactly?
Because the discs are easy to produce and can be interchanged to facilitate the playing of different tunes. There are a great many firms in Europe now manufacturing music boxes as a result.
It is wonderful to be able to enjoy music even when no performer is present.
But it is the very success of the invention that means we are now presented with an insurmountable problem. What do you mean? As you may imagine, the construction of one firm's music box does not match that of another. And we have no way of knowing in which music box this particular disc was designed to be played. There is no resolution to this problem, I'm afraid. It's quite intractable. Ah, I see. So that's why... Naturally, I tested the disc in those few music boxes I have at my disposal. But as you can hear, to no avail. The results were equally unsatisfactory in this one. So, I am presently engaged in acquiring an example of all the music boxes ever made in Europe.
Every single one?
That's heavy for you. Always taking things too far.
But, my dear girl, an unsolved riddle is quite repugnant to my constitution. But surely all the different types in Europe will amount to a huge volume of music boxes, won't it? Yes, that is certainly true. In the worst case, I shall just have to ask you to vacate the attic room. What? Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear again so soon. Yes, it's only been 2 months since that grisly case. Mr. McGilded perished within hours of the trial's conclusion. Was it the curse of the Reaper? No one knows still now. The omnibus was reduced to a pile of ash. Not a shred of evidence remained. And with the man's death, the truth about the murder in which he was so intimately involved was buried. Even though we successfully established Mr. McGilded's innocence in the trial,
The newspapers are still claiming that it remains an unsolved case.
the murder of the brickmaker, Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. In the end, the truth of the matter remains a mystery. We still have no idea what really happened that night. And although Mr. McGilded was found not guilty through my defense, I still don't know if that was the right judgment or not. It would appear the case is not yet closed.
Well, it's time I started getting things ready for dinner, I think. Jenny will be here before long.
Thank you, Iris.
Oh, well, you must let me help you then.
Of course, Susie. There's plenty to do.
I think I shall investigate the condition of my faithful performing partner. Now then, where did I leave it? Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Sholmes. Never leave anything too precious with the pawnbroker. Yes. You may be right.
Oh, that reminds me of something Mr. Windybank said before. He said that he had a manuscript of Iris's in pawn, didn't he?
Did he? Yes, he definitely mentioned it. Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom, were his words, I believe.
So you heard about that, did you? I expect you were incensed as I was.
Oh, yes, the idea is such a wonderful story. Languishing in Mr. Windybank's storeroom, gathering dust.
My dear madam, I'm quite sure I told you already. The pawnbroker's storeroom is the safest place for it, more secure than a bank's vault.
And what about your Stradivarius, Hurley? Was that safe and secure?
Well, there may be the occasional mix-up, caused by a certain impetuous someone not too far from me now.
Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that Baskerville story, Hurley?
Ooh, she gonna hit him upside the head.
Oh, it sounds so exciting. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it.
It's gonna be the Iris toss now. You fucked up.
Uh-oh. Oh no. Uh, uh,
What's going on here?
Yeah, I like to know.
Why
they're
does it...
acting- Sorry, I was gonna say they're acting like I just took a shit on their carpet.
So, you have chosen death. Why does it feel like an icy chill just swept through the room?
Susie, what did you just say?
Uh,
You said the Hound of the Baskervilles. But how could you know the full title?
well, that's...
That's because Mrs. Sato is such a great fan of all the stories about Mr. Sholmes, of course.
But Uno, the Hound of the Baskervilles, has never been published.
What?
When I showed Harry the manuscript, he told me that I wasn't allowed to publish it yet.
I don't understand.
That's why he said that he'd keep it safe. Until it was the right time for the story to be made public, you see?
So that's why the manuscript is at Windy Banks?
And yet, how could Susie here know its title? Well, Harry, what's going on?
What?
He is getting pissed.
Ah. What is it, Mr. Sholmes? It would appear our guest has arrived.
awkward.
Miss Lestrade.
This was a bother, dear. I knew I weren't welcome. I'm going.
Bye. No, wait! Miss Lestrade. We've all been eagerly awaiting your arrival. Haven't we, Iris?
Oh, yes! Just wait here, Ginny. They'll have everything ready in a jiffy. Come along, Susie.
Right, of course. It's a pleasure to see you here, Miss Lestrade. Please make yourself at home.
Don't stand in the doorway, my dear girl. Come along in. What say you to some Metalsham? I won't take no for an answer. Metalsome it is, then.
Kitty!
Kitty, wanna say hi?
Waka hi!
Waka hi.
That evening, Iris prepared us all a meal that was even more delicious than usual. Wagahai ate all the leftovers.
Wagahai brought a friend who also helped eat the leftovers.
Yeah, I call him Brad. Oh, come on, Brad.
Brad, don't make a pig of yourself.
Mr. Sholmes' violin performance was in no way meddlesome. Even Brad enjoyed it. And Gina, as we came to call her, taught us all how to steal things from one another without being noticed. Everyone thoroughly enjoyed themselves well into the night.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check on laundry.
That was a very enjoyable evening, wasn't it?
yes, Iris's cooking was truly divine.
And I feel as though I could still hear the enchanting strains of Mr. Sholmes's violin even now.
Best of all, I bet I could steal the glasses from his lordship's face next time we're in court.
Oh, please, God, no! I can't see without them!
Naruhodo-san, could I consult with you about something, I wonder?
What's the matter, Sasato-san?
It's about the telegram I received.
Ah. The one that arrived first thing this morning, I suppose.
I've been summoned.
What? Summoned? What do you mean?
The telegram was from the Lord Chief Justice's office. Lord Strongheart has asked to see me.
The Lord Chief Justice? When?
Tomorrow morning.
What? Then we have to start preparing at once.
Oh, no. That won't be necessary, Naruhodo-san. I've been summoned alone.
Alone? What on earth for?
I have no idea. I suppose I shall find out tomorrow.
What's all this about? Whatever it is, it's making me feel very uneasy. Knock, knock. Oh, who could that be, I wonder? Oh, is Mooney not back yet?
Yeah, so
Okay.
you might have to step in.
Okay.
Friends.
Never mind.
You're still
right on time. I was about to put on the Coach Z voice.
Not on my watch, Coach.
Ah, Iris. Hello again.
Oh, no, you don't.
And Gina,
Sorry.
too.
Yes, Ginny's going to stay with us tonight. She's going to sleep in with me. Is that right, Ginny?
As long as I get top bunk.
Well, yeah.
How lovely. Let me make a pot of tea.
You know, I've learned so much today.
Oh, what in particular?
All the things Ginny showed us. Wasn't it wonderful?
Ah, you mean all those pickpocketing techniques? We had fun trying them out on each other, didn't we?
I think I've awakened a natural talent. I could earn
Oh.
a living from it.
You might be getting ahead of yourself a little there. So, what brings you up to our humble quarters at this late hour?
Well, you see, I came to return this.
Wait, what? That's mine!
Oh my, however did you?
I told you, didn't I?
Little sneak.
I have a natural talent for it.
Oh yes, I'd forgotten. Iris literally is a child genius.
So, anyway, here, you can have it back. Not that I really understand why you wear it, though.
Ah, thank you.
Alright then. Good night.
Yes, good night.
So this is your office, isn't it? What do you think, Ginny? I think I wouldn't fancy me chances with a lawyer who lives in a place like this. Me too.
Oh no.
It seems as though Iris here still has something she'd like to talk about.
I suppose she probably wants to talk about the manuscript.
Yes, I suppose she probably does.
Converse.
Iris, I suppose you're hoping to talk about the manuscript, aren't you?
Aren't you going to tell me?
I'm so sorry. I need a little more time, please.
Alright, I understand. I hope I haven't made you feel awkward.
Oh, no, not at all, Iris. Not at all.
I don't know what all this is about, really, but... It's a story you made up, isn't it, Iris? This manuscript, or whatever you call it. It's not exactly a story that I made up. It's something I read in Daddy's diaries. Daddy's? That's right. I don't suppose I've mentioned it to you before, Ginny, but... My daddy was Haley's assistant once. His partner. Eh? They solved all sorts of strange and mysterious cases together. The body is that right, mister?
Apparently so. I was as surprised as you are, though.
And Daddy wrote all those details of every single case down, you see, in his diaries. So I study them and write my stories based on what actually happened. So, is your man now then? He had to go away on urgent business to a faraway land, and he'll be gone for a very long time. So, I've never really met him. Oh, right.
Come to think of it, I don't know anything about Gina's parents either. Perhaps we should ask her.
Oh no.
This is gonna get awkward, ain't it?
Yep.
Iris, this Hound of the Baskervilles story. I take it that it's another tale inspired by your father's accounts?
That's right. I thought it was fascinating. But it's different somehow. From the other cases, I mean.
Oh? How?
Ow! I don't really know. But it must be special in some way. Because after I'd written it and showed the manuscript to Hurley, he turned as white as a sheet. It was the first time I've ever seen him like that.
It pains me to have to say this after you toiled over it for so long, Iris. But this story must not be published at this time, under any circumstances.
But why not? It's one of my best works.
I'm not at liberty to say. Not now. So please, do not ask me.
Alright then, I won't.
But I do solemnly swear that I will explain everything one day, Iris, when the time is right. And that's how the manuscript came to be with Mr. Windybank, isn't it?
Yes. Harry said it had to be somewhere very safe. That really gets my goat, that does. He's treating you like a child. It's me, that's what it is. Keep it secrets like that.
I'm sure Mr. Sholmes isn't trying to be mean. If he said he wasn't at liberty to talk about it, I'm sure there must have been a very good reason.
I think so too.
You lot are too trusting for your own good. But it can't pull the wool over my eyes. Sholmes is lying to you, Iris. I bet my life on it.
What?
Lily's lying to me?
I've realized that I don't know anything about your parents, Gina.
I ain't got any of I. Never did have.
Oh.
Look, the East End's full of orphans like me. No one wants nothing to do with us from the minute we're born, not even our mums. But we all stick together. The older ones look after the little ones and make sure they get by.
So that's why you're a pickpocket.
Nah, starving's my life. I love it. I get a kick out of it every time I lift some pompous idiot's purse. And that's all we afford to eat. I'm like Robin Hood, ain't I? That's how I see it.
Oh, Gina.
I did think about it sometimes. What it'd be like to our parents, I mean. I always thought it'd make everything right. But I've been listening to what Iris just said. It sounds like orphan parents ain't always easy either. Oh. I mean, if you know you never are them, you don't feel like you're always wanting to meet them. It's true. I do want to see Daddy so much.
Oh, Iris.
Gina, what did you mean when you said that you know Mr. Sholmes is lying to Iris?
Well, he reckons he bought that manuscript or whatever, right? But come on, that's obviously a load of rubbish.
Oh my. Why would you think that, Gina?
It's simple. If that star was really in the old Windybank storeroom, there's no way someone would have a way around the world and not, in other words, you could know about it. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. But Gina would never do something like that. I'm sure of it. Burnups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, the lot of them. You just aren't realized it yet. I'm telling ya, that mental script ain't a Windybanks. You'd soon see if you ought to look. Even if you think you can't trust them, I don't. That Jones is a liar like the rest of them. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. See? But I don't mean that I think he sold it. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him.
Don't be too hard on yourself, Iris.
Oh my goodness! Look at the time! Come along, Ginny. We should get back downstairs. Yeah, alright. And please, don't mention any of this to Hurley, will you?
No, of course not. Good night then, Iris. Good night, Gina.
You must let me make breakfast for you tomorrow morning. I insist.
Oh, yes, please. I can't wait, Susie. Good night then.
Iris. It sure is easy to forget, isn't it? Sometimes she speaks just like an adult. But deep down, she's still just a child.
Well, I think it's time that I turned in for the night, too. Naruhodo-san?
Dr. John H. Wilson, Iris's father, but also the name of the murdered visiting professor at Yume University. It can't be a mere coincidence. There's something deeper going on. That voice. That's Mr. Sholmes. What's going on? It's the middle of the night.
Oh, shit.
It's Miss Lestrade. She's gone. Gina? She was supposed to be sleeping in Iris's room, but her bed is empty. Well, she's an independent young woman. She probably decided to go home, no? I think not, from speaking to her before she retired. I received a distinct impression that she was looking forward to breakfasting with Mrs. Sato. No, I don't believe the girl has gone home, but I've been waiting for over an hour now. Over an hour? Oh. If you'll indulge me, look out of the window, my dear fellow. What's this about? Wait a minute. Why is there a light on at this time of night?
Uh-oh.
That's Mr. Windybanks' pawnbrokery. Mr. Windybanks is... Oh, no.
Don't move.
It's simple. The dark star was in the old Windybank storeroom. There's what other way around the word? In other words, you couldn't know about it. Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, it sold it. Without telling you.
Could Gina have gone? It seems you have some knowledge of the situation, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry. Oh, no. No, not really. Well, anyway, we must investigate. At once! Mr. Sato. The door to Windy Banks. It's open.
And the lamp is burning.
It must be Gina, mustn't it? Let us hope it's nothing more sinister. What? Come, there's not a moment to lose. Clearly something is afoot inside. There's no one here. Oh, yes. There is.
Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes.
What the? Has Sholmes been shot?
What?
Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. But... After them! Go! Right.
This got dark fast.
Blast! I've lost them. Hello, hello? What have we here?
Uh,
The alarm was just ranged from this pawnbroker's, sir. Would you know something about that? Officer, come with me. It's my friend, Mr. Sholmes. He's been shot. Shot? With the policeman close behind me, I ran back to Windy Banks.
Oh.
Mr. Sholmes!
Mr. Narado.
How bad is it? Never mind me, but there's much at stake. Behind that door. In the storeroom. Hurry!
Oh.
It's Gina!
bloody hell, I got shot.
And it wasn't by your own hand. It looks like. I'll be all right, Mr. Naruhodo. After them! Go! Behind that door. In the storeroom. Hurry! It's Gina! From that moment, Windy Banks' pawnbrokery became a crime scene. Everything that followed happened in a whirlwind of activity. The arrival of the police, the preliminary investigation of the scene, and the questioning. It was just before dawn, before I was allowed back to my lodgings at 221B. Oh, Iris.
A telegram came. But all it said was, wait at home.
Oh, yes. We asked one of the policemen to have it sent. It was simply impossible to come back.
When I woke up, I was all alone. Heather and Jeannie were gone. Everyone was gone. What happened, Bruno?
Poor Iris. She's trembling. She's obviously trying very hard not to let herself get too worried. I'll explain everything that I know.
Nothing awful has happened, hasn't it?
Yes, I'm afraid so. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Iris, but Mr. Windybank is dead. He was shot. We discovered it in the early hours of the morning.
Yes. I had a feeling.
You did?
I saw all those police carriages pulling up outside his shop. So I knew something must have happened there.
When we entered Windybanks in the small hours, we disturbed a gang of 2 thugs. They ran out onto the street, and I chased after them, but they got away.
Which was one of them who shot old Mr. Windybank, I suppose.
I don't know, but that's not what the police believe at the moment.
Why not?
They've arrested someone else as their prime suspect, you see. Gina.
Ginny? But why?
Well, the thing is,
No! Ginny wouldn't do something like that!
I know. None of us think she did it.
That's why they arrested her?
I'm sorry. There was nothing I could do.
I don't understand why they arrested Ginny. It's not fair. What about the 2 thugs that are at the scene? Why aren't they the prime suspects? After all, they shot her to death, didn't they?
No. I mean, Mr. Sholmes isn't dead, Iris.
It sounds so horrible.
The thing is, Mr. Windybank was found on the floor in the storeroom where he keeps all the deposited articles. And the storeroom door was locked from the inside.
I see.
But he wasn't alone in there. Gina was found next to him on the floor as well.
Oh no.
And according to the detectives who investigated afterwards,
Don't tell me there was no one else in the room.
yes, exactly. How did you know?
It's the only explanation.
Yes, the only explanation indeed.
What do you mean by that, Bruno? Well,
What can I say? I'm damned if I agree, damned if I don't.
this is it, Bruno.
She's still at the police station.
Why?
I expect she's still being questioned. The police said they wouldn't be finished for a while.
Why aren't you there then?
Well, I didn't get a good look at the criminals anyway, so they weren't questioning me for long. And Mrs. Sato stayed behind at the scene to tend to Mr. Sholmes, so they didn't get started until later.
Ah, I see.
Besides, one of us had to come back to be with Iris. I'm glad Inspector Gregson agreed to me leaving early.
You should have let me know, and I would have come to the station. So where's Hurley then? Is he still there investigating the scene? He really ought to have had some breakfast. It's not good for him to miss meals.
I don't want you to worry, Iris, but I have some news about Mr. Sholmes. He was taken to hospital this morning.
What?
Well, when we entered Windy Banks, a gun was fired and he took a bullet.
Hurley was shot? No. No.
It's all right. His life isn't in danger.
Really? Are you sure? Where is he? Which hospital?
He's at St. Sinner's. They're tending to him there.
I must see him at once.
I'm sorry, Iris, but you can't.
Why not? That's not fair. I'm a family member. I should be allowed.
No, I mean nobody can see him at the moment. He's not allowed any visitors. They're preparing to operate, you see.
To operate? Oh, poor Hurley.
It was the two thugs who were in Mr. Windy Banks' shop. They shot Mr. Sholmes when we disturbed them, you see. It was pitch black inside the shop at the time. My mind went totally blank, I'm afraid. I just froze. After them! Go! After that, I ran out into the street, but... well, they were long gone. I shouldn't have hesitated. I'm so sorry. It's my fault. I let them get away.
I think that's a very good thing.
Sorry?
Well, if you'd seen which way they went and chased after them, you might have been shot as well, Bruno. On top of everything else, I couldn't bear that.
Oh, Iris. I'm afraid I'll need to go out again now, Iris. There's not much I could do at the moment. But I can at least try to find out how Mr. Sholmes and Gina are getting on.
I want to go too. Take me with you, Bruno. I can't stand just sitting around here waiting.
I'm not sure how I feel about taking a 10-year-old child to the scene of a murder. But I don't want to leave her all alone here either. Alright then, Iris. Perhaps you can help me?
Oh yes, I'd love to.
Gina's at the prison. Mr. Sholmes is probably in his hospital bed.
And don't forget, we have to visit the crime scene. We need to conduct a thorough investigation.
Ah, I can see you're ready for action. I imagine Iris would appreciate going to the hospital sooner rather than later.
Hurley!
No, that's strange. The
I
nurse
mean,
de-
they're operating.
the nurse definitely said he was in the bed by the window, didn't she?
I knew what probably happened. Harry was being a big baby and that bullet wound wasn't that bad after all, so he's been sent home.
Wah, wah, it wasn't that big of a deal. Wah. I'm not so sure about that, baby or not. There's no question that it was a fairly serious injury that Mr. Sholmes suffered.
Oh,
Hello, hello? What have we here? This water's off limits. No visiting. So what are you doing in here, eh?
well, I'll have you know, we're Harry's next of kin.
Eh? Oh, well, begging your pardon then, ma'am, sir. A little lady and a curious Eastern gentleman. The great mystery solver as a mysterious family, eh? If that's how you see us, sure.
Where is he, Constable? Where's Harry?
I believe he is currently in the operating theater, ma'am, undergoing an extensive operation.
Extensive?
It has been several hours since he went in.
Oh dear. Is he going to be alright?
Well, it doesn't appear to be working, you see. The anesthetic, that is.
Oh,
I have heard a report that the gentleman claims he may have had a little too much to drink last night. Coffee, that is. Anyway, I think it would be fair to assume that he won't be back here for several hours yet. I see. Thank you, Constable. Perhaps we should leave and come back later.
poor Harry.
I put Godo to shame.
This is where it happened then. Last night.
That's right. The two thugs I told you about were obviously ransacking the place, looking for valuables.
But apart from the policemen in here, you wouldn't know anything had happened. There's no sign of a disturbance.
No, you're right about that, actually.
In fact, if anyone, it's the police who seem to be the ones doing the ransacking.
I know what you mean. They're like a gang of organized criminals, all dressed in black. Oi, I heard that. Circus, you want to take over since your character is dead?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, Inspector, good morning.
I suppose I ought to thank you for your vigilante last night. We got to the scene before it was disturbed, at least. Shame on you to let the two rogues get away like that, mind.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
I thought you'd assigned extra men to be to the beat around here, Gertie. Now look what's happened. Harry's been injured because there was no police on duty.
Oh! Your ladyship. No one told me you were coming.
I expect you to take full responsibility for what's happened to Harry and see he has the very best medical care.
Of course, your ladyship. The very best doctors in the capital are attending to him as we speak.
Bruno's fault that the rogues managed to get away, is it? Chasing criminals is the police's job.
Absolutely, your ladyship. As you say, ma'am. As you say. The djinn in black is totally blameless. Everyone is in agreement about it. God, he's such an little wimp when it comes to a 10-year-old.
Would
You
you
could say
believe? Go ahead.
I mean, if I were older, he'd be my bottom bitch.
Would you believe it? He's like a completely different person with Iris. Talk about a personality change.
Oh my god.
Oh, where are me manners? Are you thirsty, your ladyship? Perhaps would you like some juice? Some nice, refreshing fruit juice?
Oh, why? Are you thirsty, Gregsy? I have some of my special herbal tea with me if you'd like some.
Ah, lovely. To very. That's hit the spot, your ladyship.
I don't even recognize him like this.
He is at her mercy, man.
He's a wimp.
So, how's the investigation going, Inspector?
Nothing to it, really. Very simple case. There's some very
Sorry, bud.
offensive evidence. We're just about to charge that diver we arrested last night in Bath.
Gina, you're going to charge her?
Damn right. That's right. Should be able to bring her before the judge at Bailey tomorrow.
Definitive evidence, you say? What is it? Come on, show me.
Your ladyship, as much as I wish to oblige you, I'm afraid.
Ah, I see. You already captured the pair of thugs who broke into here last night, have you?
What the?
And you're going to put them on the stand as witnesses, are you?
How? How could you? How? How could you possibly know that?
I'm a psychic. I had a feeling, that's all.
Remember, I never tried to keep a secret from Iris. So you've arrested the two men who shot Mr. Sholmes, have you?
Well, yes. They're rounded up pretty quickly by the lads on the beat.
And Miss Lestrade is being held at the prison?
She should be. That's assuming she hasn't lifted the key from the jailer, of course.
Can you tell us anything about Mr. Sholmes? What's his condition?
Sorry, I'm not at liberty to divulge that information. Scotland Yard matters are strictly confidential. Iris!
Well, I know he's being operated on at State Centers. Why can't I see him? I'm family, you know?
I'm terribly sorry, your ladyship. It's hospital policy, no visiting at all.
Oh,
The bullet must have hit an artery in his mischief. He's lost a fair bit of blood.
oh, no.
He didn't seem too bad in the first hour or so. The hemorrhage like that is enough to even make the one and only Sholmes put down.
Mr. Sholmes is a human like the rest of us, you know.
Well, anyways, he's having emergency surgery right now. They even got to stop the bleeding.
But he will be alright, won't he? We'll be able to make him better.
Of course, your ladyship. He'll be as right as rain before you know it. Oh boy.
Really? How do you know?
How do I know? Well, because of course. Ah, yes. Because Mr. Sholmes is a great detective, that's why.
We better pray that doctors have a better grasp of what's needed to make someone well again.
Oh dear, please don't die, Hurley.
I'll report to your ladyship the moment I hear he's out of the operation theatre.
I couldn't help noticing, Inspector.
What? Out with it, sunshine.
Well, there seems to be a marked difference between the way you talk to me and Iris.
Watch your sauce, Sonny. I'm a copper and we don't go in for favoritism.
But he's right. He do treat us differently.
It's cause of those Adventures of Sherlock Holmes stories. That's why. He's just racist. That's why.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that answer, Detective.
I cropped them in, don't I? Inspector Tobias Gregerson.
Oh yes. Because you're an acquaintance of Hurley's.
What did you write about the inspector, Iris?
I don't remember really.
Duh. I was one of Shannon's lines. Gregerson is the smartest of all Scotland Yards, is how he put it.
Oh, did I write that?
And you know what that one line did for me, eh? The very next month, my pay doubled. Doubled, I tell you.
Ooh, that's amazing.
All because everyone at the yard reads them and they read all the Sherlock Holmes stories. They even set up a fan club for me.
Well, of course, that explains everything. It was around the time that you became such a toady for me.
You got that? You got that right?
I don't. Can you blame me? All it takes is one bad word from you and Sholmes could change his tune about me. Gregerson, no. The great detective will say he's getting quite overrated these days. Think of what would happen to my salary if that came out to print, eh? The whole thing gives me the willies. I can't tell you how many nights of sleep I've lost worrying about it.
But that would never happen, Gregsy.
Every month when the new West magazine comes out, my hands are trembling as I turn the pages.
Oh, how awful for you. Here, have some of my tea to settle your nerves.
Oh, how lovely. So very much. That's really hit the spot, your ladyship.
Teetotal.
Oh, yeah. There's something I was supposed to talk to you about, actually, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes? What is it?
I've got an important message for you. I clean forgot about it until now.
An important message? I wonder what it could be. Are you gonna tell me what this important message is then, Inspector?
Yeah, it's about the young lady who normally by your side, your assistant.
Dear Susie, is she alright?
She's at the station, isn't she? Being questioned, I believe.
Nope, not anymore. She had to head off.
Head off? Where?
To Lord Strongheart's office, of course. He summoned her.
Ah, yes, of course. I'd forgotten about that.
One of the Woodstocks took her there in the yard's carriage after we finished questioning her. But she asked us to tell you she didn't have the fare for the return journey and go and meet her there. She's got a nerve using Scotland Yard as a blooming message serving.
I see. Well, thank you for passing that on, Inspector.
Why did Susie have to go see the chapter? To see the Lord Chief Justice?
She didn't tell me. But I better head over to the Lord Chief Justice's office to fetch her straight away.
Keys.
Yes. No matter how many times I come here, I always get the same sense of oppressiveness somehow.
Dude, if I ever become a judge, I want my fucking courtroom to look this way.
Do you
Which is-
think this place is oppressive? I think it's normal.
How so?
I mean, look at that suit of armor over there. You can't take that seriously, can you?
Maybe it thinks the same about you. So, everything is clear with regard to tomorrow's arrangements, I trust.
Oh no!
Yes, thank you very much. There they are. Sasato-san and Lord Strongheart.
I wonder what they're talking about. They both look very serious.
Very good. There is nothing further to discuss. You may return to your lodgings. No doubt you have much to do in preparation for your return to your homeland. Wait, what did he just say? Your return to your homeland? Sasato-san!
Caca! Caca!
May I take over for Sylph's place for the moment?
Oh, it's Sylph still not back yet?
I
Yeah.
don't think-
Oh, well
Oh.
then I'm gonna have to do the Homestar thing then.
Oh my gosh. Holy gosh. Here we go.
Go for
Oh, Mr. Naohoyo.
it.
What was all that about? Ah, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you for coming to collect your colleague. What's all this about? Why were you talking about Mrs. Sato's return to her homeland? And tomorrow?
Tomorrow? But what about Ginny's trial? while.
You mean she's been formally charged now? Oh dear.
Well, we're gonna have to leave it there, everybody. That's gonna have to.
Aw.
Yes, we're at the 5-minute warning, so we're gonna have to leave it at that point. We're gonna have to find out much more on the next episode. So, for all of you out there, the big holiday is tomorrow, Spaghetti and Meatballs Day.
Woo!
If you need to add anything to your spaghetti, Parmesan cheese, shredded mozzarella, just anything that doesn't require heavy amounts of sauce. And have fun with it.
Lots of meat. Have lots and lots of meat on it. Because
Yes.
that's delicious.
And if you need to do what we call Sunday gravy, that's basically where you combine the meats with the sauce and it tastes like Sunday gravy. And then you pour all the meats in there. You could put meatballs, sausage, prosciutto. One of these days I will make it for all three of you. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but somehow.
Evan, you're making me hungry.
I'll talk to you about it after the show's over. So,
I gotta
Bro-
cook after the show.
so for all of us here, enjoy your holiday weekend and we'll catch you all next week. For all of us here, for me, Circus, Mooney, and Sylph, bye-bye, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have fun, everybody.